Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar, and today I want to talk about the training process after hiring. A lot of people think that the hiring process is that, and once we hire them, then we'll focus on the training aspect of things. You need to focus on the training and development before you start to hire people. The reason is if you bring them on board and you don't know what the hell you're going to be doing once they're there, you don't have a 30, 60, 90-day plan to be able to bring them on board so that they can truly perform and actually do something and bring some value to the organization, the team, wherever they're going, you have a big issue. You're going to end up losing a lot of people. I get what a lot of you people are going to say, right? Because we're talking about leadership in retail spaces, specifically more niche spaces like AV, appliances, furniture, wireless. Okay. These are specialized spaces where you actually have to have a better knowledge of what you're doing to be able to get your people to truly perform and be able to have them succeed. Because at the end of the day, they're not looking to get a job just to have a job, right? We all work to make ends meet. Okay. It's a means to get what we want. And that's the exact same thing your people are doing. They're not trying to come in so that they can find something else. They want to come in and they want to actually participate and take care of everybody so that they also get taken care of. Okay. I've told you, my biggest thing for my salespeople has always been the same thing, even for my store managers, right? When I was in those area director, district manager levels, was ensuring that they understood my goal was to make sure that they made the most amount possible with the least amount of work. And I would drill that into their heads because when they saw that, when they would think of me, all they would think about is, all right, he's trying to make sure I can make the most I can. What can I do? Right? Because at every single level, especially subconsciously, it's going to get at them like, okay, there's got to be a better way. He's got to have something. There's got to be a better way for me to be able to get to X level to be able to perform at whatever case. Okay. And once they get there and they see, oh my goodness, it was so easy, life becomes easier for everybody. That's when you start having more ability to train additional trainers, to, coach the coaches, be able to get your sales leaders within your teams so that they have opportunities to be able to grow and you also have opportunity to be able to flourish, because I cannot tell you how great it is to actually be able to go on vacation and not have to worry about performance, not have to worry about you blowing up the rest of the team like, hey, do this, do that, hey, what's up going. You don't have to worry about that. You can actually set it aside and know that business is getting handled, it's getting taken care of. Okay. That's what it means to be able to train and develop your people. And when you hire somebody new, you have to have that in mind. So if you're new to one of those roles, if you're an owner operator trying to figure things out, you need to understand that you need to sit down and actually plan what you want them to be able to achieve at certain milestones. For me, it was very simple. Within the first 2 weeks of them coming on board, I needed them to get all their, you know, online checklist, training session stuff taken care of. Okay. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You got, I told them, this is what we need to focus on because I can't have you selling. I can't have you making any money until that is completed. Right. Then from there, at 30 days, I made sure that they knew the core fundamentals of what we were going to be doing day in and day out. Okay, this is what I want you to focus on. My goal is for you to be able to achieve this, right? When it came to wireless, my goal within that 30, 60, 90-day period was simple. 2 weeks, get your trainings done. By 30 days, I want you to be able to do an upgrade, an activation, and something else, right? By day 45, I need you to be able to do this and this. By day 60, this is what I need you to hit. And by day 90, this is what I need you to be able to sell. And part of the reason you do that is psychological, because when you stretch that out and you break things down during that period, it makes them believe they can actually achieve it. And what I attained during that period was about like 90+% of my new hires within 45 days had achieved every single metric I had set out for them to achieve by 90 days. And it does a few things to them. It allows them to be able to actually feel like they're getting good at something. And it gives them that confidence, that ego boost that they need. Because you guys know in sales, that's a big part of it for them to continue to be motivated. Because remember, guys, it's the action that precedes the results, that precedes the motivation. So when they start taking those actions and they start doing it, they start taking that focus training that you've been giving them and they start implementing it and they start to see it's easier. They can do this, they can achieve it. It's super fast for them to be able to pick everything else up. And they're able to actually dot everything together, put the lines together, and connect everything so that they can succeed. And you've broken it down and you've made it simple. When I was doing AV and appliances, it was the same thing, right? For appliances, I would make sure that they could do the basic bundles first, how to be able to transition from this to this. And I would break it down. Hey, by 30 days, okay, first 2 weeks, same thing. I need you to get this stuff done. That has to be it so that we can focus on the more important things. By 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, this is my expectation. By way before 90 days, I could get them to be able to bring up the luxury and premium appliance brands, right? I was talking about stuff like Sub-Zero Wolf, Decor. I'm talking about Thermador. I'm talking about Viking. They had the confidence to be able to bring it up to a client at that level that was spending that kind of money on appliances and grab somebody who was better suited, more knowledgeable for them to be able to do that. And they would split the commission. Same thing in an NAV space, right? I could get them to actually be able to sell something, but more importantly, I could get them to sell the actual site survey and get clients and customers to understand why it was important for us to go and check out their space because I didn't want returns. I didn't want them to buy something and then for them to have it come back because I didn't want to deal, one, with open boxes. More importantly, I wanted the clients and customers to have a better experience the first time around. And what they realized was they were spending less time actually having to sell and less time dealing with returns and exchanges, and we're making more money. And that's the importance of being able to break things down and have that focus, right? They understood what they were doing and they had those stepping stones that they'd be able to achieve. And they knew if they were on the right path or the wrong path. They weren't trying to figure out, am I doing things well? Am I doing things wrong? And that all starts before you do the hiring. Okay. The hiring process is finding the people to be able to plug into that system. When you have that system in place, it makes the training and development so much faster, so much easier, and you can understand where certain individuals are in the process and can focus on the ones that are struggling a little bit and can let the ones that are succeeding actually take off and feel confident in their roles. And then your veteran salespeople are super happy. They're not having to truly actually having to babysit, shadow, right? Because you guys know your top sellers, they're focused on trying to make their money. And sometimes it truly aggravates them to have somebody there when they're trying to focus on just making their money and not wanting to move up. Because, guys, we have that in these organizations. We have people that would much rather be a seller because they're making a good living. They're making that 6-figure income just being a seller, not having to worry about any of the other responsibilities of being a manager. Why? Because they're tenured in that role. They have clients that are bringing additional clients. I've had leaders and employees in my organizations that had generations of clients come visit them because their first client was the grandfather a long time ago before they had kids, and they brought their kids and they brought their kids. Okay. That is the crazy power that you have when you have great salespeople, but they got to start somewhere. So whether they're new to the role or new to the organization, you have to be able to understand where they're at so that you can figure out what type of help they're going to need. Because even if they're tenured in that industry, they're not tenured in your organization. So there are going to be things where they're going to fall off. They're obviously going to have a much faster on ramp. Okay. It's going to be a much shorter path for them to be able to start from, to get from first step in to being on the sales floor doing the most. But if they start falling because of the operational side, that creates bigger headaches for everybody involved because they don't understand what they don't understand yet. They don't know the difference. So that's where you as a leader have to truly gauge it. And that's why it's important to train and develop your local leaders. So if you're an area manager, district, regional, you have to understand that your local salespeople, your local sales leaders, your store managers, your assistant managers, they have to be your eyes and ears. Because if you're overseeing 10 plus locations, you can't realistically visit every single one every single week and have that great experience with them all. Because you might do a store visit, and guess what? You might not see any clients or customers during that period before you have to get to the next one. So it's super important for you to understand where you need to spend your time and focus on. But it's more important for you to be able to develop your people so that everybody can succeed. And then you have less to worry about. You're not there spitting out those 60, 80-hour weeks stressing about everything because the teams aren't performing. They're not hitting the metrics. I don't have to worry about that. That's where you want to be at. The teams get things done. I'm a glorified babysitter for all intents and purposes, right? Because they get things done. I don't really have to do much. That's the important thing. And that's where you want to get to. As an owner operator, that means you also have leaders and managers in place where you can step away and not have to worry about things getting done. So you have to truly understand where you're at. And that goes back to having that training and development planned out. And if you're barely starting it, it's going to be a work in progress. Things are going to change. It's a living document, a living program. It doesn't matter if it's your first year in, if it's your 30th year in, your 60th year in. Times change, methods change. So think of these as living programs, living documents where they will change over time because maybe there's a better path. Maybe there's a better method. But there are going to be certain things that are going to stay true through time. And the most important one is that when you spend time training and developing your people and you actually staff appropriately, you retain customers longer. They spend more and you have less cost to attract more customers and to get bigger baskets. And that's the underlying thing because you might be trying to run the business bare bones so that you can be able to make out those margins. But when you actually start to truly invest in your people and you start seeing how they take care of their clients and customers, and you start seeing less cancellations, less return, less churn on the client side, that also means you start to see less of that on the employee side. So you spend less time trying to train new people and you're focusing more on actually expanding and growing the organization the way you envisioned it. There is ample room for small businesses right now in this day and age to be able to tackle big corporations. But you have to start somewhere and you have to understand that you don't want to take the playbooks that the big organizations have been using because publicly traded companies, their secret playbook is to slash employees, okay? To slash the headcount and expect those clients and customers to stick around. Right now, some of them, right? So there are some big box retailers that the only reason they're technically still around is because they don't actually have a true competitor in the market yet. Look at Circuit City. Where was there a decline? They started slashing employee compensation. They started slashing employee headcount at their locations. And they went from being one of the better locations, one of the better leaders in that industry to who are they? Where are they now? If you don't know who Circuit City is, look them up. If you do, right, let me know one of your best memories there. Because I remember being a kid, used to go checking them out. It was the fun times, right? But that's what I'm talking about. You don't want to be a relic. Don't follow those big box retail playbooks because they're not really a playbook. They're just a corporate parachute for the exec level positions. It's not to grow an industry, to grow within an industry. It's not to grow an organization. If you guys want to find out more, hit that follow and like button. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I want to say thanks again for spending another day here at Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm Omar, and I'll catch you on the next one.